Hi, I'm Julie Schlosser.
And I'm Liz Stevenson.
And today we're going to learn about Annie Oakley. Annie Oakley was born as Phoebe Ann Mosey in 1860 in rural Ohio. Annie's father died of pneumonia when she was only 6 years old, so she needed to find a way to help her family make ends meet. So Annie began trapping game before the age of 7 and shooting and hunting by age 8 to help support her siblings and her mother.
Not only did Annie hunt and trap enough to take care of her family's needs, she also sold the surplus to local people, shopkeepers, and restaurant owners. Her efforts helped to pay off the mortgage on her mother's farm when Annie was only 15, which they could not have done otherwise. Annie and her hunting skills became well known throughout the region, and so she was encouraged to enter a shooting contest against a traveling show marksman named Frank Butler. During the competition, Butler hit 24 out of 25 targets, but Annie hit all 25. She not only won the $100 prize, but also the respect and admiration of Butler.
In fact, Annie eventually married Frank Butler and began performing in traveling shows with him, the most famous being Buffalo Bill's Wild West show. These were open-air vaudeville performances that toured across the United States and Europe, depicting romanticized stereotypes of cowboys, Plains Indians, Army Scouts, outlaws, and wild animals that existed in the American West. It was when touring with Buffalo Bill's Wild West show that our folk hero started using her stage name, Annie Oakley. She was known for making impossible shots, such as hitting a playing card thrown into the air before it even touched the ground, or shooting targets while standing on a galloping horse.
Annie didn't only showcase her sharpshooter skills, however. She also wanted to teach other women how to shoot. Throughout her career, it's believed that Oakley taught more than 15,000 women how to use a gun. She believed that shooting was not only a great form of physical and mental exercise, but also an important self-defense skill.
Additionally, Annie Oakley worked to promote the service of women in combat operations for the United States Armed Forces. In fact, she wrote a letter to the then President, William McKinley, offering the government the services of a company of 50 lady sharpshooters who would provide their own arms and ammunition for what seemed an imminent war with Spain. While the president did not take her up on her offer, Annie still inspired many women of her time to be independent and realized that they were as capable as men when offered the opportunity to prove themselves.
Next, we'll teach you a song to help you remember the story of Annie Oakley.
Annie Oakley, tell me truly, Annie Oakley, can you do the things you say you can do? I hear tell that you can shoot all the buttons right off of the cowboy suit at 700 paces, Annie Oakley.
Well, I'll tell you truly to your faces that old story that the buttons isn't true. It's a fact that I can shoot all the buttons right off of a cowboy suit, but I do it at 1100 paces.
Annie Oakley, tell me truly, Annie Oakley, can you aim the way they're played and you can do? Heard a story from my friend Fred that you can shoot an apple from a cowboy's head and never hurt the cowboy, Annie Oakley.
Well, I'll tell you, since I'm honest in my dealings, I'll admit that the story isn't true. I tried with an apple yet, but I practiced it with walnuts. You bet, never heard a thing except the cowboy's feelings.
There never was a gal like Annie Oakley. Today we're going to learn how to make some harmonicas. Harmonicas were an instrument that cowboys and cowgirls may have played around the campfire to entertain themselves in the evening as they were traveling around. And so since Annie Oakley was part of the Wild West show, we thought that might be a good instrument to learn how to make and play on your own. So we have a couple different types that we can learn today. One is really simple to make. You only need two things: a plastic cone like this, and then some wax paper. So that's all you're going to need to do. So what you'll start with is getting that sheet of wax paper out, and you're going to sort of match it up with whatever size plastic cone you have, and we're going to cut that to match. Now it's going to fold over the cone like this so that it covers both sides. And then I'm just going to cut right underneath like that. The side, and if you need some help with the scissors with this, please ask a grown-up that's with you to do that. And then we've got our wax paper over the cone. And really that's all. You might want to just give it a little crease here to keep it on that cone a little better. And you're just going to hold it between your fingers. And when you use it to play, you're not really going to blow like you would on a harmonica, but you're going to hum a little bit more like you would on a kazoo. So it should sound like this. There's an old cowboy tune, Home on the Range. So all I was doing was sort of putting my lips around it and just humming like I would if it was not in my mouth. And that will make a little buzz. It might tickle your lips a little bit. That gives you that kazoo or harmonica-like sound. So that's one really is simple. I'll set that aside. Another one that we can try takes a little bit more assembly, but also makes a really interesting sound. So what we're going to start with are some craft sticks. Now, craft sticks are sort of like popsicle sticks. I'm using these wider ones because I think it makes just a little bit better sound, but if you have the thinner ones, you could probably use those at home too and make this work. So we need 2 craft sticks. We will also need some rubber bands. So I'm going to get 2 rubber bands as well. And these are going to be for wrapping around the ends of our instrument. So we want to have them be a little bit longer so we can wrap them around a few times. So I have those 2. We're going to need a little bit of paper. I'm using a little bit heavier paper, but probably any paper, construction paper would do. And then you're going to need a plastic drinking straw and your scissors again. All right? So those are our pieces that we'll need to assemble this. So first we're going to start with this craft stick. And we're going to need, again, to cut something to the length of the stick, but not quite as long as the stick. So you can see here that we want a little bit left on the ends, and that's probably a little too short, so that we can have a place to wrap those rubber bands around. So I'm going to cut it probably right about there. And we want it to be just a little bit thinner than the width. So you might want to draw a line there, and I think I might do that too, so that I can have something to follow. But just we don't want it overlapping the edges of the stick. So that's what we're looking to do. I'm going to draw myself a line. And then again, we're going to want that a little shorter on the other end, just a little shorter than the stick. So I'm going to cut my paper right about there. And we'll see how I did. It doesn't have to be a perfect rectangle or anything. But so if I put that up against my stick, you can see it's the same width or maybe just a tiny bit thinner. And then we have a little bit on each end that is still showing of the popsicle stick. All right, so that's about the size we want that piece of paper. Now we're going to need to get our drinking straw. So we have to have something to sort of hold up these 2 pieces so that they're not just flat against each other, and that's where the drinking straw comes in. So we're going to cut 2 short little pieces off of the end. So these don't need to be any particular size other than, again, don't make them stick off the end of your stick, so you might want to use the stick to measure against it again. And so probably for this type of stick, something, set my scissors down, about that wide, if you can see it, will fit on my stick pretty well. So I'm going to cut 2 of these small pieces of straw and get those ready. And they're not exactly the same size, but pretty close. So those 2 pieces of straw. So now, this is a little tricky, and it might help to have a little hand with this from somebody. We're going to sit our piece of straw right on top of that piece of paper that's sitting on one of our craft sticks. You kind of have to hold it there, maybe press it down with your thumb a little bit to hold it and squeeze it while we put this on top, sort of like a sandwich. And it does tend to want to slide, so it might take a couple tries. But I'm going to try that again, and if you can get it squeezed in, whoop, and see mine ran away. We'll try again here. If we go that way, there we go. Now we've got it in between, you can see it in there. And so what I'm going to do now is take my rubber band and I'm going to wrap it around that end to hold those 2 sticks together like this. You can see the straw is in there and it's helping to hold. You might want to poke it in a little further so it doesn't come out the side. I'm using my pencil to help me a little bit with that. So it's a little bit of an experiment as you're putting this together too. So that piece is in there, so we still have one side that's open, and this one's a lot easier to get in. So now we're going to take our other piece of drinking straw. Again, we're going to put that between the paper and the other craft stick. Just once I get it settled in there, I'll show it to you. Just like that. And again, we'll kind of pull those together and get our rubber band, our second one, and wrap it around to hold those all together. So that should give you just a little bit of a gap in there. You can kind of see that. There's a little bit that's better on that side. You can see it better between the sticks. And we want that because that little piece of paper that's in there, when we start to blow, is going to vibrate, and that's what's going to make our sound. So it needs a little space to do that, which is why we put those gaps in. Okay? Now I've found when I'm playing this that it helps when you play to sort of pinch these ends down a little bit, but we'll see how this goes. It may take a little practice to get the hang of it. There we go. All right, that one kind of sounds funny, doesn't it? So there you have it. So you have one harmonica made out of craft sticks, one harmonica made out of a plastic comb and wax paper. And you might use slightly different materials. Your combs may be different sizes, your sticks may be different sizes, different kinds of paper may make a little bit different sound. So we'd love to hear from you and see what you've created. So when you make your instruments, you could send a video or a picture to us at the Blossberg Memorial Library or to their Facebook page and share with us what you've come up with.
Our theme for summer reading this year is Imagine Your Story, and we need your help to imagine how we could fill in some of the blanks in this next song that tells the story of Annie Oakley. I'll put up some of the words right here for you, and you can see where there are spots missing, and maybe you can even send us an email to help us figure out how we should fill in those blanks. Here's what the song sounds like that we've got so far. Let's take a listen. Started at going to end. Email us your suggestions, and we'll show you the finished song at the end of our summer series. Thanks so much.
We hope you've had a great time learning about this American folk hero, Annie Oakley. Don't forget to send your ideas for your own song, telling the story of her life and accomplishments.
If you liked learning about Annie Oakley, or you want to learn more about the stories of the Wild West, be sure to check out a grab-and-go book from the Blossburg Library.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.